This video is about hidden harms and obstacles to your happiness. And I do want to say that this is a video. I've written down some things to keep me on point, okay? So this video is not for people who are in abusive relationships, okay? If you are in a relationship with a person who is abusing you, you need to go and get help, okay? You need to get help. You need to get individual help, okay? This video is a spiritual video for people who want to develop themselves spiritually and for people who want to do self-reflection so that they can unearth their shadows and to have better relationship with the people around them. So this is a video that is for just the average person, general populace with who has not diagnosed, or maybe some people are undiagnosed with disorders that makes them more inclined to be violent. Some people are diagnosed and some people are not. This is not for people who are if you're an abuser, you need to go and get some help, because there'll be reasons why you're doing what you're doing, and likely you wouldn't even, an abuser likely wouldn't even be watching this video unless they're trying to get tips how to be more subtle. And if you are being abused, go get some help, okay? You need help. Because the thing about it is, a lot of people who are being abused, they think it's their fault because they've been brainwashed into thinking it's their fault, and then they try to be nicer to their abuser, which only exacerbate the abuse because they like it. They want your power and they want you to be submissive to them. So the nicer you are, the worse your when I say nice, I mean kinder. And if you try to comply with them, and you're just trying to have an easy life and not rock the boat, as they say, your life becomes even more hellish. So you need to get help. This is just for ordinary, everyday people who are just having difficulties with people, because we all have ego, okay? And our ego is always trying to protect us. So and plus we've learned a lot of negative behaviors from being in a society that is so toxic, and we're born into this toxic soup. And so yeah. So one of the hidden harms or obstacles to happiness is microaggression compounded over time, okay? And usually people overlook the metaphysical aspect of their life, the non-physical aspects of their life, because we have been orientated towards the material world, the physical world, and so we overlook our emotional health. We overlook our soul orientation and the things that our soul need to evolve, and what we need in order to actually be happy. We're never going to be happy in an egoic environment where we're toing and froing with each other. And so the non-physical aspect of our lives is the key to our happiness, health, and longevity. If you are not happy in your life, you're gonna be ill. Like a lot of our illnesses are coming from the fact that we are in disharmony within the body, and those disharmony is what causes diseases. And there's lots of evidence to show that now. Our science is improving. It's very, very young, our Western sciences, but it is improving. And then, Eastern science is vastly more advanced than ours. And we can see that, our lifestyle really affects our health. And not really going to go into statistics and all that, because that's not what this video is about. So I can really just say, like, if you look at people in other countries who have really simple lives, and they ate from the land and they had a slower pace of life and all those things, they lived a lot longer, and these people were actually happier. So I don't have to really go into science or whatever. You can see that, with your own eyes, and you will know, like, for example, your great grandparents and things like that. You'll notice they ate well, they ate real food, and they drank just maybe a little bit, and they just were just ordinary normal, you know um, and they lived very long and very happy. Whereas now, people are so much more unhappy, depressed, and with so many more physical illnesses because we're not eating real food, and because we're living in these toxic environments. What I'm really talking about though is microaggression, and microaggression is whenever I'm trying to read what I've got here. Yeah, but anyway, microaggression is whenever you are criticizing people, or somebody's criticizing you, and people do this. People think it's normal, and I guess it's normal because it's prevalent. Normal doesn't mean good, by the way. Normal just means that's what the majority of people do. And you hear the phrase, like, they bicker like an old married couple, as though that should be the norm, that you're you know um, debasing your partner and things like that. These things where your partner or people in your family, people close to you, where they're chipping away at your self-esteem, they're criticizing you either how you look or how you behave or how you do something. They're always finding a fault with you, or if you're the one doing that to somebody. Now, I want to talk about it as though you're the person doing it to someone, so you can just look at it in that way. If you are somebody who is critical of other people, people become critical of you. That doesn't mean that every time someone's critical of you, it's because you're critical of them. People are just like that anyways. But I'm just saying it in this way, that whenever you're critical of a person, that specific person will become critical of you. They'll be looking out for what you're doing wrong so they can tell you all about it. And the reason why that's happening is because the ego mirrors. It learns from mirroring. So it's one of the easiest thing for it to do is to mirror. So if you are horrible to someone, they're going to be horrible back to you. That's just, and if you're kind to someone, they'll be kind to you. And it's because most people are just on their ego drive, which is the impulsive setting, or the automatic setting. It's easier. People can't be bothered to be conscious or to be aware of what they're doing. And of course, people who want to watch these things, these kind of videos, that my content, are people who want to be more aware of themselves and want to reflect on how they are and how they're behaving towards people. And doesn't mean that when you become more kind, you'll notice people are gonna be kinder to you, but you are gonna come across stragglers. Okay, you're gonna come across these people who are just nasty, regardless of how kind you are. Like we say, we're sharing the world with narcissists, psychopaths, and all kinds of deviants. So expect that people are going to be just, or they've just learned to be nasty so much. It's their automatic instinct is to be nasty to you and to find a fault. Okay, so yes, and also, so basically, if you are not nice, if you're cruel or condescending or critiquing someone all the time, their subconscious mind, where in the shadow, as they call it, wherever the mind that is programmed to defend them is going to identify you as an enemy to that person. Okay, and so they will be also looking out for revenge. Okay, now if you're in a kind of a relationship like this where you're bickering at each other, so your shadow is going to identify that person as an enemy, and that person identifies you as an enemy. So that's why working out your difficulties is so much harder. And when you have got like a situational something, a situational stress. So situational stress would be basically means situation. A situation occurred, like you've got an unexpected bill, or there is a grief. You know, like sometimes a person is trying to have a baby, for example. You're trying to have a baby, and then when the pregnancy comes, the pregnancy is so hard. It's hard on the, and then the relationship breaks up. um, and because they can't tolerate the stress of it, so the extra stress, or the person loses a child, they've been trying to have this baby, and have several IVF treatments and all this stuff, and then by the time the baby comes, the relationship didn't survive the stress, and that's because the relationship wasn't strong in the first place. There's going to be many other reasons why, but it's usually because the people haven't bonded well with each other, because they have got this undercurrent of enmity towards each other. Okay. Ooh la la. There were some things that I wanted to say and wanted to add, but maybe I'll say it. So if you're looking at this toxic, toxic stress compounded over time, right? And if you're looking at it like gaining weight, so we can match, because we love physical things, so we can, it's easier to look at things in a physical way, and then to sort of make that parallel to the non-physical. Okay, so we can look at it both ways. So when you if you were gaining weight, let's say that this toxic thing that you're passing back and forth, and you're gaining this toxic weight, right? And it's a pound a day, then you have about 30 pounds a month, which is about 360 pounds a year. So you're thinking it's compounded, it's not going anywhere. Whenever somebody's attacking you and doing all this stuff to you, it is actually causing something is going on with you. Just because it's not physical doesn't mean something isn't there. And what your shadow does, your shadow covers things up. So maybe, you go out with a person and you have a laugh with them, and it releases things, and you're having this relationship. You're always having two relationships with a person. You're having the subconscious relationship, and you're having the conscious one, where I don't want to really go into it too much. It's too much. Oh la la. But it's just being aware of your behavior, and being aware that if you aren't on a day-to-day basis, if you're not oh wow, okay, I've got this thing looks like it's gonna die. But basically, if you aren't in a loving relationship with a person, it's going to be so much harder to tolerate distress, and stress is like grief and various things that might occur. So it's a good thing to practice being in loving communication and a loving relationships with those people around you, so that whenever you go through stressful times, it becomes much harder and much easier, and you are much more of a support to your partner, than or vice versa, or your siblings or your children or whoever. That you're not just, your subconscious mind isn't just waiting, or their subconscious mind isn't just waiting to attack you as soon as something goes wrong in your life. So rather that you have a support, rather than somebody looking to attack you. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it there. So do leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of my video, and thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please press the subscription button and whatever it is, and you can tap the bell so that you're notified. And thank you guys so much for sharing, and for liking, and for commenting. And until next time, love, light.